What's up everyone, it's Colin from ITB. This is my review of the Sony Xperia XA2. Stay tuned to find out how it got on in the ITB review. Welcome back. So as I alluded to there in the intro, this is the Sony Xperia XA2. It's kind of a mid-tier phone. I won't go too much into its design right now because we have another unboxing video of it where I'll take you through that. But just briefly to kind of bring you through that again as a little refresher, you've got your headphone jack up the top. Nice to see it's still there. Volume rockers, power key, dedicated camera button, USB-C on the bottom, speaker, microphone on the rear, Xperia branding, fingerprint sensor, and the camera, which is a 23 megapixel f2.0 24mm lens. And then on the front here you've got an 8 megapixel f2.4 and a 1/4 inch 1 to 4 inch sensor. So that fingerprint sensor is not, I found, overly accurate all the time. It can be a little bit wishy-washy. So let's see. So there, it took that long to do it, so I'm going to tap it now. And it came on. It's not too bad. It's a little bit hit and miss, as I said. This won't be a massively comprehensive review, but what this review will be is effectively a real world how I got on using this phone for 2 weeks from someone who uses an awful lot of phones. So I mean, firstly, let's talk about the display. It's an IPS LCD display, 16 million colors, 5.2 inches. It's got a 16:9 ratio. It's 1080 by 1920 pixels, and that's a 424 ppi if you're counting. You've got Android Oreo on board, 8.0. There is an update due at the moment, so I'm not entirely sure what that's going to bring. It's got a micro SD card slot up to 256 gig or a second SIM card slot, whichever your preference. 32 gigs of internal memory, 3 gig of RAM, and the battery's a 3300 milliamp hour. Briefly on the battery, I've got to say it's excellent, as is generally most Sony phones. Really good. And lasted the day pretty much no problem at all under medium kind of usage. If you really started using your phone or the phone, then it did kind of drop a good little bit, but pretty good overall. So this is Sony's take on Android. It's much cleaner than it used to be. So it used to be a little bit heavier teamed, let's say, but now you've got fairly standard kind of system. It's a little bit different. You've got your pull down menus here, so you've got your notifications. The settings is actually quite different to let's say stock Android, where Sony has kind of combined a lot of them, which I found a little bit tricky to try and find necessarily what you wanted. Typing the shortcuts you wanted didn't necessarily bring you to the things I thought it would based on other Android phones. But once you get used to that and you kind of dig in, it's not too bad. So into the app drawer, it's kind of a horizontal scroll, and of course anyone who wants to put on some sort of launcher, absolutely can. You've got Nova Launcher, you've got other options available. Widgets, you can long press on your screen like that. You can change your themes yourself. There's just one at the moment, but you can go in and do more, get more if you want. Wallpapers, widgets, you can go in, change your transitions, and then just various different things. You can change the size of the grid to make it much bigger, much smaller, however you kind of want. It's very good. Now the processor on board, this is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 630 octa-core, 2.2 gigahertz, Cortex A53. It's got a Adreno 508 GPU. For the most part, there's no problem. Daily tasks, being productive, playing light games, light to medium intensity games. However, I did notice considerable slowdown, just waiting for things to happen very regularly throughout the course of a day. So depending on how much stuff you have open, it really did kind of bog down at certain aspects. And really that's down to the 3 GB of RAM, which really, after the system is kind of done taking its share, you're really only left with about probably 1 to 1.3 gigs to kind of run everything else. So looking at things like on Tutu, you've got 86635. So as it goes down through these things, it's better than 34% of other CPUs. It's better than only 21% of other GPUs, and so on like that. Geekbench 4 then, if we go into that, we give you some information there, but basically you've got, well, we would have to rerun the benchmark. It's decided to disappear. Let me just see. So there we go. So your device is 839 on the single core, whereas a Galaxy S7 is 1806, for example. OnePlus 3, 1698. Multi-core, similar kind of thing. This device is a 4005, whereas OnePlus 3 is a 4015, so it's actually quite close there. But something like an S or a Galaxy Note 7 is 5228. So your mileage will vary when it comes to actually how quick it's going to respond, that kind of thing. So that's it in terms of performance. If you're not going to be a mad heavy user, then it's a great little phone. It'll last you all day. The screen, I think, as you'll probably see here, it's really deep black, and certainly this wallpaper helps that. Doesn't come with the device, but you can download it. So the screen is really good, and even though it's only 5.2, which I find a little bit small, it's still excellent for watching videos, so you won't have any problems doing that. So moving on to the camera, as I said, that's a 23 megapixel Sony sensor on the back, so operated by a click to the dedicated camera button here. You just hold it down and it will open up. Not the quickest camera available by any means, but if we bring in something like, let's see, a mouse, and we just slightly depress, you'll get the lock, and that's the picture taken. So the camera is really good. I can't really argue too much. Low light, it's not, it's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst. Here's some sample images taken today, and these will be in the full post. Don't worry about that. If I bring up let's just go in another way, let's say. So brightness is up. Okay, so let's go into the album. If we have a look at some pictures. So taken today, let's say down in Wicklow Harbour. Very difficult conditions for most smartphones to shoot in. Kind of a really, what we would call a soft day. In fact, that one's not really indicative because it's all blurry. The camera was a little bit smudged. But here's some of the lighthouse, or we go that way. And again, it's pretty good. Pretty good camera. I don't think anyone would be disappointed in it. It's not up there with Pixel 2s or Samsung S9 Pluses, but it's not too bad at all. You'll be overall very happy with it. So that's the camera. Front facing, it's fine. I don't personally use front facing cameras at all, so it really doesn't bother me how well they perform that much, but it might for you. But it's pretty clear. You're certainly going to have no problems with that. So on the whole, I found the phone to be very adequate, let's say. Good camera, great battery, performance lets it down a little bit. I would have liked to seen a better Qualcomm chip option in there. However, the one that they have put in, that 630, certainly makes for that really good battery life. So can't argue with that, to be honest. So if you are looking for something that's not going to break the bank, because these are, this is not going to be that expensive. It has only come out, so just check your local network for this particular one. And I will post my official review scores in our new feature called the ITB score. And that's basically going to be a spreadsheet of all the different phones that I've encountered, reviewed, used, and experienced, basically. And every phone that is on that list has kind of been compared to every other phone that's on that list. So you're going to getting an overall score. So I will leave that in the link below. And please do comment or like on this video, or dislike if you didn't like it. But please, whatever you do, don't forget to hit the subscribe button that's just over here, and feel free to check out some other videos on the channel as well. Thanks very much, and stay tuned to IrelandsTechnologyBlog.com for all the latest news, reviews from Ireland and around the world.